Alauddin Khilji, born as Juna Muhammad Khilji, was the second ruler of the Khilji dynasty, reigning from 1296 to 1316. He is considered the most powerful ruler of the dynasty. He was a very ambitious person and a warmonger. He liked to call himself the second Alexander. He took the title Secondary Sani. He banned drinking of alcohol in open in his kingdom. Alauddin sent his lieutenant Malik Kafur on expedition to the south in 1308, which led to the capture of Warangel, the overthrow of the Hoysala dynasty south of the Krishna River, and the occupation of Madura in the extreme south. Malik Kafur returned to Delhi in 1311 laden with spoils. Thereafter the fortunes of Alauddin and the dynasty declined. The Sultan died in early 1316, and Malik Kafur's attempted usurpation ended with his own death. A tale of his attack on Chitta in 1303 CE to capture the Queen of Chitta, Rani Padmini, the wife of Rawal Ratan Singh, and the subsequent story have been immortalized in the epic poem Padmavat, written by Malik Muhammad Khilji in the Awadhi language in the year 1540. He was a strategist and military commander who commanded forces across the Indian subcontinent. Sultan Alauddin Khilji is also noted in history for being one of the few rulers in the world to have repeatedly defended his empire against Mongol invasions. He defeated large Mongol armies and then launched punitive expeditions against them in Central Asia, around modern-day Afghanistan. Military campaigns. Mongol invasions. Alauddin Khilji successfully defended his realm from the Mongol invasion. He improved the borders fortifications and established garrisons. He defeated the Mongol armies at the battles of Jalandhar, Kili, Amroha and Ravi. During his 20-year-long reign, Alauddin Khilji conducted a number of campaigns that greatly expanded his authority. Threatened by the Mongol expansion from Central Asia, he successfully repelled several Mongol attacks on northwestern India between 1296 and 1308. The Mongol invasions in 1305 were also defeated, first at Amroha and then on the banks of Ravi River, allowing Alauddin to launch punitive expeditions into Mongol-controlled territories in Afghanistan. North Indian expeditions. Ranthambore. In 1296, Jalaluddin was assassinated by his nephew Alauddin Khilji, who won over the nobles by bribing them and then crowned himself as the new Sultan of Delhi. Muhammad Shah was instrumental in making this coup successful and was rewarded for doing so. Allowed access to the harem, he struck up a friendship with Chimna, a disaffected begum of Alauddin's. The pair conspired to kill Alauddin and have themselves as Sultan and Queen. Alauddin discovered the plot and Shah fled from Delhi along with his brother. Shah obtained asylum from Hamir Dev, the Rajput ruler of Ranthambore, which then caused Dev to be a focus of Alauddin's ire. The fort of Ranthambore was attacked and the armies of Alauddin and Dev fought a battle on the banks of River Banas, which the Rajput forces won. However, Dev's army became disorganized due to a personal feud involving the Senapati, Gurdon Saini, who was eventually killed by his opponent, the Prime Minister. Alauddin reorganized his forces and made a renewed attack on the fort. Being supplied with information about the state of the besieged fort, supplies of food and water by unhappy officers from Dev's army, the fort structure was such that Alauddin was unable to breach it, so he offered to return to Delhi if Dev would hand Muhammad Shah over to him. Dev thought that breaking his promise to Shah would be dishonorable, but Shah persuaded him that it was better than continuing the grueling siege, given the immense resources of Alauddin's army. Thus, Alauddin got his way. Gujarat. Alauddin Khilji sent two of his great general brothers Ulugh Khan and Nusrat Khan to Gujarat, which was conquered and annexed. The temples of Somnath and Rudra Mafila were sacked. the wife of the king Karan Dev II. Kamala Devi was captured and later married the Sultan. Nusrat Khan started for Gujarat from Delhi on February 24, 1299 AD. Ayub Khan started from Sindh and joined Nusrat Khan near Chittagong. Malik Kafur, a slave, was bought for 1,000 dinars. He rose to position of general in the army. Mewar in 1303, he attacked Chitta. At the time Rana Ratan Singh was the king of Chitta. There is a story that Alauddin attacked Chitta for the Queen Padmini, though there is no proof of this story. Malwa Alauddin Khilji's conquest of Mewar, Ranthambore and Gujarat struck fear in the mind of the remaining Indian kingdoms of northern India, but Malak Dev refused to give in to Alauddin Khilji so easily. He gathered 20,000 horsemen and 90,000 infantry to confront Alauddin's army. Hananda Kokka was the general of his army. On the other hand, Ain al-Mulk Multani, Alauddin's general and future governor of Multan, was on the head of a 160,000 Muslim army. After a bloody war, Hananda Kokka was killed and his forces retreated. Malwa along with Mandus Dara and Chanderi fell to Alauddin Khilji. Ain al-Mulk Multani was appointed the governor of Malwa. Mawar Alauddin Khilji invaded Mawar in 1308. Sataldev was the king of Mawar and the owner of the famous Suwana fort. Alauddin Khilji sent Malik Kamaluddin as the general of his army. After a fierce battle, the Mawari army was defeated. Sataldev was captured and was executed. Jalore Alauddin Khilji invaded Jalore next. The first expedition was a failure. Khilji's army was defeated by Kanhad Dev Songara. Alauddin Khilji then sent Malik Kamaluddin. The Hindu forces were defeated this time by Malik Kamaluddin's forces. The book Kanhad Dev Prabandh, written by Padmabh, tells more about this king. Expeditions in southern India to Vijayagiri and Baglana. In 1306–07, Alauddin Khilji completed 2 campaigns. The first was against Ray Karan, who after his expulsion from Gujarat had been holding Baglana, though his wife Kamala Devi had become the chief Begum of Alauddin. Her daughter Devala Devi was with King Karan in Baghlan. An expedition was launched to dethrone Karan and to bring Devala Devi to Delhi. It was successful and Devala Devi was sent to Delhi, where she joined her mother and eventually was married to Khija Khan, eldest son of Alauddin. The second expedition under his slave general Malik Kafur was against Diagur under King Ramachandra, an ally of Ray Karan. Ramchandra was defeated, and Ray Ramachandra was restored to his dominions with the title Ray Ryan by Delhi. He was also given the Gujarat, and one of his daughters, called Jatupali, was married to Alauddin Khilji. This alliance was to prove to be of great value to Alauddin in his further aggrandizement in Deccan. But, after the death of Ray Ramachandra in 1315, his sons threw off the yoke of Delhi. Malik Kafur quickly came and crushed the rebellion and assumed direct administration of the area. Warangal in 1303, the first attempt by Alauddin to conquer Warangal ended in a disaster as the army of the Kakatiya dynasty defeated him. The Kakatiya king, Prataparudra II, raised a well-equipped army in Alauddin's army, which was led by Malik ud Din Nanjaju. 6 years later, Malik Kafur invaded Warangal for the second time. Kafur was able to occupy the Warangal fort with 100,000 soldiers, and forced Prataparudra to pay an indemnity and annual tribute. Among the treasures ceded by Prataparudra was the Koh-i-Noor diamond, once the largest known diamond in the world. This siege has been recorded by Amir Khusrau. Dwar Samudra Mabaran Madurai. After conquering Vijayagiri and Warangal, Alauddin Khilji sent Malik Kafur against King Virabala III of the Hoysala kingdom of Hail Badu. Veerabalila was surprised and forced to pay an indemnity and become a vassal, but, in the case of Maba, even this formal agreement was not forthcoming. Malik Kafur was defeated by the Tamil ruler Vikrama Pandya, who was the younger brother of Emperor Maravarman Kulasekara Pandya Nayar of the Pandyan dynasty. Within a decade after the death of Alauddin Khilji, several South Indian rulers like Pralayu Vema Reddy of the Reddy dynasty, Masunuri Karpanidu, and Hakaran Bukka of the Vijayanagara Empire liberated whole South India from the Delhi Sultanate. Additionally, the Bahmani Sultanate also gained its independence in the Deccan in the 14th century. Accounts of the massacre of newly converted Muslims. Mongols from Central Asia tried to invade Delhi during the reign of Alauddin many times. Some of these Mongol people also settled near Delhi and accepted Islam. They were called New Muslims. However, the financial condition was not good. Alauddin Khilji suspected them of being involved in a conspiracy against him and of being a threat to his power. He ordered to kill them all in a single day. In 1298, between 15,000 and 30,000 people near Delhi, who had recently converted to Islam, were slaughtered in a single day due to fears of an uprising. The women and children were made slaves. Political and administrative changes. Alauddin Khilji's administrative and political reforms were based on his conception of fear and control as the basis of good government as well as his military ambitions. The bulk of the measures were designed to centralize power in his hands and to support a large military control over nobility. On his accession to the throne, Alauddin Khilji had to face a number of revolts by nobles, including one by his own nephew, Akar Khan. Alauddin's response was to increase his level of control over the nobility. He reduced the economic wherewithal of nobles to launch rebellions by confiscating the wealth and removing them from the bases of power. Even charitable lands administered by nobles were confiscated. Severe punishments were given for disloyalty. Even wives and children of soldiers rebelling for greater war spoils were imprisoned. An efficient spy network was set up that reached into the private households of nobles. Marriage alliances made between noble families had to be approved by the king. Agrarian reforms. The area between Lahore and Dipalpur in the Punjab and Kara were removed from the purview of nobles and brought under the direct control of the crown. Khalisa. Tax was assessed at half of the output payable in cash. No additional taxes were levied on agriculture. The direct relationship between the cultivator and the state disrupted the power of local landowners that traditionally had power of collecting taxes and passing out land within their areas. These landowners had grown prosperous based on their ability to force the share of taxes onto smaller landholders. Under Alauddin, these landowners were forced to pay their own taxes and prevented from passing on that cost to others. The cut landowners made from collecting tax revenue for the state was also abolished, while the cultivators were free from the demands of the landowners. The high taxes imposed by the state meant they had barely enough for carrying on his cultivation and his food requirements. To enforce the new system, a strong and efficient revenue administration system was set up. A large number of accountants, collectors, and agents were hired to administer the system. These officials were well paid but were subject to severe punishment if found to be taking bribes. Account books were audited and even small discrepancies were punished. The effect was both large landowners and small-scale cultivators were fearful of missing out on paying their assessed taxes. Market reforms and price control. Mongol. Alauddin Khilji's military ambitions required a standing and strong army, especially after the Mongol siege of Delhi. Maintaining a large army at regular salaries, however, would be severe drain on the treasury. A system of price controls reduced the salary amount that needed to be paid. 3 separate markets were set up in Delhi, the first one for food grains, the second for cloth and items such as ghee, oil and sugar. The third market was horses, cattle, and slaves. Regulations were laid out for the operations of these markets. He took various steps to control the prices. He exercised supervisions over the market. He fixed the prices of all the commodities from top to bottom. Market officers called Shana were appointed to keep a check on the prices. The defaulters were heavily punished. Land revenue was fixed and the grain was stored in government granaries. These market regulations and stability of prices were the wonders of his age. The soldiers and the civil population were greatly benefited from these measures due to the low prices of the essential goods. Tax system. The tax system introduced during the Khilji dynasty had a long-term influence on Indian taxation system and state administration. Alauddin Khilji's taxation system was probably the one institution from his reign that lasted the longest, surviving indeed into the 19th or even the 20th century. From now on, the land tax became the principal form in which the peasants' surplus was expropriated by the ruling class. Coins. Death. Alauddin died in January 1316, of edema. It is believed that his lieutenant Malik Naib hastened his death. His tomb and madrasa dedicated to him exists at the back of Qutb complex, Merali, in Delhi, India.